Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Life. Welcome back to part number 3 of this little series where we're making 10 last ditch neckers. The stage we're at is we're ready for heat treat. So we've got these things rough, beveled, profiled, cleaned up. We've got our sharpening choil in there. And I was on the podcast with my friend Todd Fuss, and he had suggested, what if you could come up with a way to heat treat them all at one time? Some type of a rack where we could hang these knives and just, and I thought, you know what? That is a great idea. Thanks, Todd. Now, I was laying in bed thinking about this, and I kind of thought maybe 10 would be a little bit too much. The container that I use for quenching is an ammo can, and I think these would be a little too tightly stacked together to do 10 at once, but 5, I think, is doable. So what I've done is I've gone to Princess Auto and I picked up these stainless steel meat hanging hooks, so for doing home butchery, processing, game, and I just wanted these for the steel bars. And then I also picked up this pack of stainless steel nuts. These ones are metric, but that's okay. They're gonna work just fine. And so what I'm gonna do is essentially I'll have each side of the stand will be something like this with a nut welded to the top. And that way I can take this stainless steel bar and it will just slide in there and be able to sit in the kiln. But then when I'm ready to actually quench, I can just knock the legs off either end. And that way I'm only quenching the 5 knives and this bar, getting rid of this big thermal mass, which is just gonna increase the temperature of the oil. Not that it's probably a big deal, but ultimately I'd like mostly just the blades to be the ones being quenched. In order to keep these from sliding around, I'm gonna take my TIG welder and just put a little blob of TIG filler on here. If I put one on each side, that would keep them separate. The last thing I would want is for them to go into the oil like this so we don't get good circulation around them while we're trying to cool them rapidly. So if we evenly space them and make it so that they can't slide around on each other, it should be doable. It's gonna be a little tricky, I think. There'll be a little finagling while I pull it out of the kiln, but I think we can make this work. So let's go ahead and make this stand. I would like to thank Princess Auto for sponsoring this video. It's fantastic that they're on board helping make this content. Oh, it's been a while since I've opened this thing up. It smells delicious. So we are inside dimensions. It's basically like 10 and an eighth. So we're gonna wanna be probably 9.5 inches. So 9.5 is where my thumb is. That should be good. Should give us just enough room. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knives spaced in there. I think that'll be all right. There's only one way to find out. Now, I'll be the first to admit I'm not the world's greatest TIG welder, but for what we're doing here, sure to be enough. Okay, so, oh yeah, this is stainless. I can't use magnets. Duh. Here, I'll use this little magic thing here. 9.5 would put us 4 3/4 for the center portion. So that's where the knife is gonna be. So I want a little nubbin right here, right here. I think that'll work. That's a good start to a nubbin. Oh, shaky Magoo, too much coffee this morning. Well, there's another part of a nubbin. So what I really don't want to do is burn it in too hot. Do a little more. Oh, so cute. It's like we're building little snowmen. How hot is this? Not too hot. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I got to be able to get it on. Plus, oh yeah. I think that's going to be ideal. Oh, it jumped the nubbin, jumped the nubbin. I wonder if I should do offset nubbins. That way if this bar isn't perfect, let me try that too. Beauty, I like that. That's great. So I need to have it room on the end for it to sit on the stand. If we were to space these out 2 inches, who knows if this will work, but that's what we're here to find out. Well, we got them all staying in their own little area. Now we need to make the stand. Okay, so let's just establish where we're at. I don't know about this. So here's our barnacle leg stick that we made with all these beautiful welds to really show off and embellish my skills as a welder. I added this off camera, and here's the thinking behind that. So we get this thing loaded up with knives. Obviously one post in the middle isn't gonna hurt anything because we can load it from both sides. And then we have our side stands, which are gonna go on there and there. And they're just kind of a friction fit, like just this little kind of keeps them in place. So now we've got these here. My thinking is that this will be the length of the kiln. I will be coming in from the front like this. I'm gonna need another pair of tongs, but what I will do is I'll come like this, grab these like this, lift it up with the other pair of tongs, knock those off. Then with the other pair of tongs, kind of support this while I rotate this, and then I can dunk straight down. Almost seems like a stretch. See, there's just a lot of moving parts to that process. One thing I find with 01 tool steel, this may just be in my mind, but I do think it's a little bit more, it needs to hit the oil faster in my experience than other steels. I've noticed that 01 comes out and it starts cooling down like that. So, this is a lot different than just grabbing it. And as soon as you've got a grip on it, bam, you're in the oil within like a second. This is going to be several seconds. Now, one thing I'm hoping to do, possibly to mitigate some of the issues, is knock the back little rack off in the kiln. So I'll kind of knock that, maybe even the front one. And that way we're still kind of in that hot heat. And then I think the tricky part is going to be this part, though. Now, if I had a longer, I guess I only really even need to come to that. That way I can get it fully into the quench tank. Yeah, that would totally work. What do you guys think? Whew, I don't know. I just don't know. I know the only way to actually find out if this is something that could work is to just do it. So let's fire up the kiln. Actually, I'm gonna do a dry run real quick. I'm not sure if I should load this before it gets to temperature. Barely clear the thermocouple in there, so that's, oops, oh yeah. We're definitely gonna wanna have a loading plan and an unloading plan. And some of these guys just moved. This may be one of the stupidest ideas out there. No offense, Todd, no offense. Actually, it's a brilliant idea. It's just, can it be executed? Okay. Come in, beep, 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 we're done. Grab like this, grab like this, and I can just kind of knock this off. Maybe I'll just throw it on the ground, pull this out, knock that off, like this. Ah! Failure number one. Oh, Jared, don't even know if this is worth it. Beep, beep. Okay, we're up to temperature. Door's open, clock is ticking. Oh no, our little dongle went down. Oh, now we gotta fish the dongle. Wow! Failure number two. Ah. Come on, guys, here, work with me, huh? Beep, beep, attempt number 3. Okay, I'm coming in here. We got a hot kiln. I gotta not get my face too close. Grab onto here, pull this out. Knock that off, knock that off. Give this a spin turn, and we're in the oil. Potentially we're in the oil, although I didn't grab it. I didn't grab it with the right part of the tongs. See, it's not in the little bit. I need to be grabbing it right there. That one could have worked. Whee! Dance, little knives, dance. Okay, we're gonna do another practice run, and I don't know, I was gonna say if this one works, then we're gonna go for it, but if this one works, that would be a 50% chance, and that's not that good. Okay, maybe it's just like a muscle memory thing, you know? Maybe I'm just getting into the groove of it. Okay. Beep, beep, alarm's going off. Come in here, grab it by the bit. Good, we got that. Coming out hot. Boom, get off there, get off there. Rotate and into the oil. Yes! And I say yes, like that's like really successful. That's half the time I got it and half the time I didn't, but you know what, we're just gonna give it a shot and hope for the best. All right, so I decided to let the kiln come up to temperature, and this is the moment of truth. Can we load these? Loaded. Now we're gonna let those soak for 20 minutes. That's gonna be a nerve-wracking 20 minutes. Wow. This makes me mighty, mighty nervous. So stay in the heat. Stay in the heat. Pull these out. Get out. We're already losing heat. We're already losing heat. Too much. Ah! That's still warm. Well, Todd, you might really be onto something here. These hardened up. Boy, oh boy, we're gonna have to patent this thing. Well, what do you guys think? Do you think these hardened up? I think they did. Oh yeah. Well, that was one end. And there may be a slight variation from one end to the other, so let's check the other end. Yeah, that doesn't even touch it. It worked. It actually worked. I'm pretty excited about this. What I'm gonna do is get the next batch ready. I'll have to clean off my little bar here. I'll get all this oil and gunk off of it. All of the nubbins stayed on, so that's good. Oh, that's hard. 5 hard blades, and we've got 5, 6 more. The one that I found at the beginning of this project that I didn't know if it was 01 tool steel, I checked back on some footage, 01. So there will be 11 knives in this batch. A lot of you guys are wondering where you can get these knives. They will be available at homesteadknives.com when they're all done. So what we'll be doing next is I will get this batch hardened, and then when they're all hardened, we will lower the temperature of the kiln 400 degrees, do 2 temper cycles, 400 degrees for 2 hours each cycle. We may do a little less, I don't know, we'll see. I've been experimenting lately. And after that's done, we will do our finish grinds on them so we get a nicer finish. These will all get an acid stone wash, and then we've got to make Kydex sheaths for these. So I think we've got enough content right now to fill up this video, and heat treating is kind of boring. I mean, this was the exciting one. I'm happy it worked. I'm actually surprised it worked. The whole time those knives were in there, I was like, oh my goodness, this is just gonna be disaster. I will put a camera on the next batch though, just in case I catch a major foobar. But if you don't see that at the end of this video, you know that that batch went well also. All right, I'm gonna interrupt myself right there. In looking at this footage in the edit, I'm not entirely convinced that I'm happy with the heat treat that we got. In the moment, when I was looking at it live, and I recorded that last segment right after, I hadn't even seen the footage, and I thought, oh, it worked great. But looking back at it, there is a significant heat and color loss that we lose just in the finagling trying to get these blades out of here. What I'm gonna do is take these next 6 and I'm going to do them the normal way. So pull it out one knife at a time into the oil, quench it, yada yada. And I'm going to keep them separate and see if I can tell any difference between them. And if I can, then I'm going to just reheat treat these 5 that we did with this little rim spangly spam dangler. A very interesting idea. And I do think this has more potential to keep working on it. The issue I'm running into is just the clunk from in the kiln to out. The one thing is these are 5 small knives, so it's not like a huge thermal mass that's gonna get that much oil way too warm that it's gonna not cool effectively. I think for this specific use case scenario, it's viable. I just need to work on on this barnacle leg thing, but you gotta admit, that's kind of cool. And one thing I had actually tried off camera too was I actually brought this out and like this, and then I had it kicking up at a 45 so that I could just grab it and then, because this whole rotational process was kind of a clunk show. But that didn't really work either because it just didn't. Maybe I have to redo it. Maybe it's this thing. If I designed it so I could come in with the tongs like this, if you were essentially just pulling it out, knocking that, that would shave off like half the time at least. And that could be it. Maybe it's just finding the system that's just bang, bang, super fast. But I'm gonna keep on working on this. In the meantime, I'm gonna do those 6 knives. I'll get all the knives tempered. And then for our next video, we'll be moving back to finish grinds, acid stone washing, and Kydex. I don't think we'll be able to get all those combined into one video, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this, guys. Hopefully it gave you something to think about, and I would love to hear your feedback on this concept. What are your thoughts? Do you think the knives were warm enough? Did it look like they were indeed too cool, those front ones? And that's the thing too, is that now I've got differential heat treats between multiple blades, and I don't like the thought of that. You know, I put my name on my knives and I stand behind them. I kind of want a little bit more consistency than what this has offered me today. But not to say we're done with this, not to say we're giving up, but this was the first step in what may be a successful journey. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Cheers.